Welcome to Gate City Chronicles. I'm Senator Kevin Avard, your host, and today we're going to be talking about one of the trades or trade school. A lot of kids go to college these days, and there's some kids that just they're gifted, but maybe college isn't their thing. So what we're going to be talking about today is the trades with the Carpenters Union, and there's a really good program in Manchester on Candia Road. So I asked the people who run the Carpenters Union to come on the show and talk a little bit about what they do and how to contact them and what kind of benefit this is for our community. So with that, I want to introduce Kim and Jeff. Kim, what's your last name?
No problem. Kim Hokanson.
And Jeff?
Jeff Grinvalsky.
And our theme today is the Carpenters Union.
Awesome. Yeah.
For the longest time, I've been driving by it. We were just talking a little bit off air, and it's a nice facility.
Yeah, fantastic facility. It's been about 4 years since it's opened on Candia Road, that facility in particular, and it combines both our training center as well as our local offices for Northern
And what
New
do you do
England.
there?
So I'm the regional manager, so I cover kind of all doings with the union with Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire.
Okay, wow, so it's that big.
Yeah, this part of it. So that's our region. It is actually a 7-state council. So New York, the state of New York, plus all of New England is in our council.
So the first thing I think of when I hear that is that it's not just one little small shop. It's a regional shop, and there's a lot of support.
Yeah, a lot of support, and it continues to grow. So that's the one thing. So we have about 30,000 members across those 7 states. So I just want to make it clear, we don't include New York City. We have the state of New York, and then the rest of New England. And the support is there. We have numerous training centers throughout the seven states. And Manchester is one of the most recent to be updated and put online about 4 years ago.
So you don't do New York, but do you do Boston?
We do. Yes,
Boston.
Boston's part of ours.
Man.
Yep.
Lots of stuff going on in Boston.
Yeah, there are.
Buildings are going up like left and right. Jeff, what do you do?
So I'm the New Hampshire representative for the Carpenters Union. So my time is fully spent here in the state of New Hampshire, connecting dots with folks in municipalities, working with the membership to training upgrades or employment opportunities. We do a little bit of everything every day.
So you're at the facility most of the time, running that.
Yeah, my office is based out of there, but we have jobs all over the state, so we're pretty mobile.
Yeah. So when you drive by, it's a nice looking building, and you go, okay, it looked like just a regular office. You didn't realize that you guys built stuff inside there, which is cool. So you gave us a tour. So I think Senator Carson and a few of us were there, and we walk into this, and there was a group of kids in there. I call them kids. I'm 60. Whatever. Everybody's a kid now, and they were working on framing as a particular thing, right? Yeah. And so they have to build it up. Tell us about what happens when somebody gets involved with this.
Well, there's a process, to get into the apprenticeship, where you have to kind of complete a couple different pieces in order to get into the program. But once you do, there's a whole curriculum there for you to learn. I got in when I was 21 or 22, and I started in Yalesville, Connecticut, but the facility and it was very exciting, and I got very jazzed on the apprenticeship, the training I was receiving, basically for free while I work.
Right. Yeah.
And Manchester, the floor in Manchester reminds me a lot of where I started in Connecticut. So it's not as big as some of the regional training centers, but it is definitely a special shop.
So a kid gets out of high school. And you hear this a lot. So what do you want to do? I don't know. Do you want to go to college? No. Or if I go to college, what are you going to do? Well, I'll probably be a psych major. You hear that a lot. Or I don't know. I'm just going to go into general studies. But they feel the need that they got to go to college because they want that degree.
Yeah.
But some kids just aren't equipped for that. It's not their thing. But they want to work with their hands. So they sign up, they call you up and they say, hey, look, can I get into your program? What is it about? What is this whole concept of apprenticeship? What does that mean?
So I think the easiest way to tell people is like it is going to college. So you're basically going to college while you work, right? So you're going to college for free. So you're getting this education in a hands-on trade that no one will ever be able to take away from you, right? It's something that you, once you learn it, right? So there's many, maybe to kind of to get to a little bit more of the nitty-gritty, like there's many different aspects to each trade, right? So we are the carpenters. So when you look around a room that you're in, pretty much everything that you see would be done by a carpenter. Things inside the wall could be done by a plumber, electrician, or other things, but kind of everything you see from the floor all the way up to the ceiling, a carpenter is doing the install. So if you're interested in being on your knees a lot and
doing tile work,
doing tile floors, that's part of our trade. If you love framing, right? Oh yeah, I like to do that wood framing, things like that, cutting wood, that smell, that whatever, right? There's part of that residential framing. There's concrete work. There's all these different things that you just don't even know is what a carpenter did, right? Metal. When I got in, just like Jeff, I got in late. I was 30 when I got into the Carpenters Union, and I had no idea carpenters worked with metal, right? Didn't even cross my mind. But almost every commercial project is metal framed. Right, so you're cutting metal. You're using a screw gun. You're using these little teeny, metal screws to put in, stuff. So it's just it kind of hits on everything that you can do, and that's what's fun about it. Every day you could be doing something a little bit different. And
so you're going to college. You did say it was free. So when you get done this college program, you don't have a big bill.
No, you have no bill.
No bill.
And you're earning while you're learning, right? That's the whole thing. You earn while you learn. So. You're on a job, you're working, you're learning from a journeyman, from a journey person, from whoever partner you're with, you're learning there on the job. But then every, 3 months, you're going to school for 4 days, for 40 hours.
40 hours.
And where does the employment come in?
And so that's tied into our jobs, right? So that's tied into our signatory contractors, right? So we have signatory contractors throughout the 7 states. Most of them work all over the place. They're not really, specific to one state.
Sure.
And they're, right now we have jobs in Hanover, Bedford, over at UNH, over at Elliott. There's multiple union jobs going on currently, and they request not only skilled, journeyman people, they also request apprentices to come on the job. And that's where Jeff comes in and and helps with the recruitment of those people. And then also the servicing, the putting them out to the job.
So this is kind of similar to the electrical thing that's going on up in Concord. They have you have the Carpenters Union, then you have the electrical trades or something to that effect.
There'll be that,
And again, that's a 4-year course for them. And they set you up as well with something, with jobs, but it's specific to the electrical part. Now, I thought I saw a welding thing in your facility as well.
Yeah, they do
teach
have
welding.
That's part of our trade.
That's where I picked up welding. I did a lot of welding in the field, and I picked it up through my apprenticeship training just by, hey, everybody gets a rod, everybody gets a shot at it, and then they evaluate you. And some people, took to it, and I was one of those people, and it ended up using it in the field and being very valuable in the field. So welding's fun. It's a nice, beautiful shop they have down there.
Yeah, it is. And it's equal opportunity. I mean, you had the boys and the girls, if you will, and they're in there. They're all working together to do this little project that you had. They came in, they did something, and did they go to class or did they go to work after? How did that? When we visited you.
Yeah. So when they're there, they're solely in school, right?
Okay.
So they're there for 40 hours that week. So right now the schedule is Monday through Thursday, and they do 40 hours that week. That gives our contractors and those students an opportunity to go to work on Friday and Saturday. Because it's so busy right now, it's really needed for the, both ways. It's great for them to go back and get some money Friday and Saturday work-wise, and our contractors love to have them back working right away. So, so when they're there, they're in school and they're working. When you're out in the field, You can take classes, so that's the other thing. There's classes offered all the time, whether online or in person. So any of those apprentices, or myself and Jeff, could even take any classes that we want. And that's part of our membership. It's part of being a union carpenter.
So how long is an apprentice? How long does it take to? Are you an apprentice? Is it a 3-year, 2-year?
4-year.
It's a 4-year there too.
It's a 4-year program. Depending on experience, you can come in a little later than that if you do have prior experience, but it's for the most part a 4-year apprenticeship.
So what's your workload? I mean, how many kids can be? I keep saying kids. How many people are engaged in the program? And are you full? Are there openings?
So it's based on need, but there's a lot of demand. The winter months can be a little slower than some, but I would say for the past, it's been years now where it's just the trade is just absorbing new talent at a rate that supply just can't keep up with the demand. Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunity.
Shortage as well.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think we're any different than anyone else. I think if there's, like anyone, if there's someone who's interested and able to go to work and interested in learning, that's, the biggest thing. We're happy to have them and train them to become, a 30-year carpenter. That's the goal, right? To have a whole career at this and to be able to retire and have a, have a retirement.
Do the students stick with generally one employer, or they do they go to different job sites with different employers, or how does that work?
It all depends.
Okay.
So
how
everyone has different experiences.
Yeah.
So, it all depends. It depends on that workload of that.
The employer,
okay. Right? So that company, whether they continually stay busy and have enough work for all their employees they have. It also depends on, that specific, interest of that apprentice or that journey person, so if they get on a company that only does, metal framing, maybe they're interested really in learning something else. So they might ask to kind of be switched and put onto another.
And so they have that flexibility that they can do that.
They could. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I always say it's never good to leave something that when you're on it, but you, of course, always have flexibility. It's like anything. Right?
Years ago, I just out of high school, I wanted to go and be a preacher, and I actually worked for a local carpenter. It wasn't my thing. Mm-hmm. We did the roofing. My feet were hot. Mm-hmm. But it was cool that I was part of watching the framing go up and the shortcuts or whatever they did. Cut it this way, cut it that way. Yeah. It was cool, but measure twice and cut once.
That's right.
That's the idea.
Yeah. Oops. I made some mistakes, believe me.
That's fine.
But you didn't have that ability. You had to really learn while you were on the job.
Right.
I was a grunt.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something I wanted to do as a career. But I know plenty of kids that were just so gifted at doing that. And. How does this? Do you take kids that had shop in high school? I don't even know if high school has shop anymore.
Yeah, they have like CTE right? The different programs here across New Hampshire. Yep. And yes, that
takes into consideration.
Oh yeah, and that's something. So again, like if someone's interested, one of the first things, just to kind of let you know the whole process. One of the first things they do is they need to come to an information session. Mm-hmm. So the first Monday of every month at 6 p.m. at Candia Road and all across the whole council, we have information sessions. So anyone can just walk in, as long as they're there by 6 o'clock,
right,
and come to an information session just to hear about what it is, right? Because again, some people have no idea what being a carpenter is. So you go through that process. There's an interview after, like an application process. So there are some steps, like Jeff was saying, that you kind of have to pass through. Mm-hmm. But once you're there, right? And then we can get you in the system. You can start taking classes. You can start getting put out to jobs. And it's just a good all around way to get an education while you're earning money. And
it's such a cool thing, and again, when you're done, you have a certificate that you're an apprentice or you're a master or apprentice.
You passed your apprenticeship,
And you don't have college debt. And you're valuable at that point. You can just say, well, I know how to put up a frame, or I know how to wire this, or I know how to plumb this, it's such a cool thing. And the fact that, again, there's no debt, that's the biggest thing these days.
Right.
Some of these kids could graduate, they got that hanging over their head for years.
Yeah, and the chances for upward mobility at this time is like not, it's different than when I was, an apprentice for sure, because there's not as many people entering or staying, or lots of folks leaving, retiring, which is creating this huge vacuum upwards that frankly wasn't there when I got my apprenticeship. There was 5 apprentices behind me that could replace me if I, didn't meet the needs. But so it was very competitive, and it's still is quite competitive, because these jobs have to get done on time and on budget. But the opportunity for someone that really wants to put their nose down and learn the industry, there's a lot of pathways available to them right now that are more accessible than I'd say in previous years.
So you do blueprinting too, don't you?
Yeah. So I think one of the things that's like really exciting to talk about on our end is this, like, the ability for people to continue to move up if they want to, right? There's a lot of these things, right? I could be a physical carpenter, I can work in the field forever if I want, right? Because there'll always be a job, there'll always be cranes somewhere, right? Buildings going up. So you have that opportunity to go to work hard for 8 hours every day, and go home and never have to like think about it if you don't want to, right? Or you can become like a foreman, right? Reading the blueprints, right? Super. And the one thing that's so amazing, again, we're probably a little biased because we're here, but there's just so many opportunities to learn, right? So one of the first, when I was an apprentice working downtown in Boston, my road super came up and he's like, I'd really like you to learn blueprints.
That's
right?
cool.
Right? So he's like, just take a class. So what did I do? I looked up, called my union. I got into a blueprint running class. So right away, you just start that process of moving up if you want it. Again, I could have stayed framing for 30 years and I would have probably been very happy doing that too, right? But you have that ability to keep moving up if you want to. And it's all offered to you, from the contractors and from the union membership. You just continue to get that free education. And one of the things that, as a parent, you probably, you really want your kids to do well, right? Whatever that is. And a lot of parents feel that working with your hands sometimes isn't, I want them to be better. I want them to make more. I want, more successful.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I just want to make sure that we stress is that there's always ways to continue your education and to get degrees and things like that. So through our program or through the electrician, all these things, there's ways to get degrees, right? Because it is important, right? Education is important. So like Carpenters Union, we team up with different colleges and universities to get education. So we have through the SUNY New York system right now, we have a free 2-year degree, kids. See, now I'm saying kids, right? No, but we do. We have this, so you utilize your apprenticeship, which counts for credits. You team up with a college, and they can get a degree if they want to in construction management or a different type of things, so that you can continue to move up that ladder if you want to. So those opportunities are there, and we just always love to stress to our carpenters, take the opportunities when they're given, right? Go after it, whatever it is that you want. So.
I think it's something that I didn't know about, and I just discovered it on the other end with the electricity. But going to the facility, again, you drive by it, you look, okay, it's just an office. It's more than that, and it's a great opportunity. But you hear more and more, a lot of kids just don't seem to have, at least I've heard it, direction. They're in their junior year in high school. What are you going to do? Oh, I don't know. What college are you going to go to? I don't know if I want to.
Right.
But you got to get a job. Well, you can't just work at Dunkin' Donuts or all the rest of your life. Right. Having a trade is so valuable. It's to me, it's working with your hands, and you can make some decent money from what I understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some very decent money, and maybe more than some of these college kids are getting. That they get a job. That's great, but you're kind of pigeonholed. If you can work with your hands, if you can build something, if you have that upward mobility to learn, and the price is right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All you got to do is be willing to work, though.
You got to be willing to work.
Absolutely.
You got to be willing to show up and have an open mind, right? In terms of, be able to take direction and learn. So that's.
So what's the age limit? I mean, when can they start? 16, 18, 20?
So
I believe it's 18, right?
yeah, here at this point right now, we're still at 18. Need to have in order to get into the apprenticeship, you either need a high school degree, GED, and that's part of the application process to share your transcripts if you have them, or your GED certification. Yeah. Other states right now have started to lower the age to 17.
Really?
Yeah, so we're not there yet here in this area, but that is something that some other states in our council have begun to do. Again, for a few reasons, I think, to get...
is that state law, or is that just...
State, yeah.
Really?
State law, yeah. So I think mostly it's come about to get people, who are in either, like in New York State, it's BOCES programs or CTE programs, the different trade schools, and to get them to do, doing cooperatives, so they can come out and work, school, do their school and then work in the field with one of the contractors. So,
do you work at all online too? Are there like online courses through what you're doing?
Yeah.
Am I asking the right questions?
Yeah, you're asking all the it's. So that's one of the things. Sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
That's one of the things through COVID that kind of.
Silver lining.
Yeah. One of the things that kind of boosted. So some of the classes can be offered,
right?
On, and because again, we have some things like OSHA 10, OSHA 30, some things that are kind of very generic across the construction.
Safety first.
Yeah, construction industry, but they're not things that are hands-on. Even some of the blueprint and foreman training we can do online. Some of that, but it's really good because you get a good cross-section of our council. So people from different areas who have different viewpoints and different, challenges and struggles that they go through on job sites. So it's kind of nice because you have a wider kind of range of people on those classes. So yeah.
So with the electrical union, I think they had some type of education requirement where you needed some certain math skills with, say, like algebra. You got to have a little proficiency. How about the Carpenters union?
Yeah, there's some math requirements.
That scares some people, but should it?
Sure. It shouldn't, no, because there's an assessment,
right? And
based on that assessment, you will get the tools and the teaching you need in order to be successful. I mean, it's the education piece is just
It's something I brought up to one individual, and sometimes people look at the obstacles before they step out. Look at the opportunity first.
Exactly.
The obstacles can always be solved, right? And when opportunities, they come by and you don't want to pass them by if it's something that really you can achieve in. It's up here where people put most of their obstacles.
I agree.
Step out. If you fail, you fail. But that's not most likely if you want it hard enough,
And with our trainers and the folks in this organization, there's so many people there that just want you to succeed. And the education doesn't stop outside of that classroom. I've known people within the organization that didn't just teach me about carpentry skills, but they were there to teach me some true life skills too. And I think that's very important these days. The soft skills and things like being responsible and on time and having a good attitude and getting that perspective of how to be successful is a very important part of what we do.
And on that score, I mean, when you go there, you have people that I don't know if you have people that volunteer, but you have mentors there, don't you?
Yeah, and some of it is through programs that we have, but some of it is more old-fashioned guild system, journey carpenter apprentice type mentoring, but it's a big part of what we do. Day in and day out.
Yeah, you had some seasoned people there that I think were also part of, all right, you do this, you do that, or something to that effect, and they can coach you along with. It's not just you that's doing it. Obviously, you got some teachers in there that have been in the field for years, and
they know exactly what you need to do in order to be successful.
Right.
And if you listen and you can learn it, they're not gonna fail you there. They know we've been around. So
every time there's a 6 o'clock, I remember I got that number. But is there a season where you want to sign up or not sign up, or is it just year round? Just come at any time? You're going to graduate.
Yeah. We have it year round. I mean, it's for us. It's every month.
Okay.
And there's not we don't have it where every union is a little different, right? So at ours, it's every Monday, every month. We have these information sessions, and obviously the more work is available, the more we're able to pull from that eligible pool list, we call it, right? There's this list of people who are interested, who have put their applications in, who have passed the requirements, and that we're able to start drawing from.
Yep.
So as soon as that happens, like Jeff has needs, right? He'll make sure that we can pull off that list to get those carpenters, those potential apprentices in and out to work, and then they get to start their schooling. So yeah.
So how do they get in touch with you?
Well, great question.
Well, there's a bunch of different ways.
What do we want?
The web page, the Facebook page.
So what's the website? Let's start there.
Yep.
There's nasrcc.org, which has a directory to the various locals throughout the region. That's a good start. Can Google my name.
The office
Google
number. Let me give you the office number. Yeah. No, that's all right. 603.
Yeah, you're going to get everyone.
Yeah, we don't want to Google everyone. No, but the office number is probably, phone number is one of the easiest ways.
Yeah.
So that's 603-222-3223.
And do they ask for Jeff?
They can. They can ask for Jeff. Our admin will answer the phone and be able to take a message or be directed right to Jeff or myself, either one.
So we got the website, we got the phone number.
Yep.
What's the address?
Great. It is 920 Candia Road.
920 Candia Road.
Yep.
So if you're coming up 93 or 293, it's off of. You just veer off to. What exit is
6.
That? Exit 6, right?
Yeah.
It's easy on and it's easy off.
Yep.
I do it all the time
Yeah.
because of band practice. We talked a little bit about that. So I really appreciate you both coming on the show and sharing with us. And hopefully you can come on again and give us updates if there's new things that you want to offer.
Absolutely. Love to.
Yeah. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. It's been great.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, thanks for watching Gate City Chronicles. And if you have an event or you want to showcase something and come on the show and talk about it, we'd love to have you. But really, take advantage of this. This is something really good, especially for the students that may not know exactly what they want to do. This is a great opportunity, not an obstacle. Until next week, thanks for watching.